Welcome. Part 4. I'm just going to keep adding on to these things. It's probably going to be 20 parts. It's super time consuming, so what I'm doing now is I'm planing these pieces of wood. This is just a rough plane, and then it'll be sanded. So I'm taking these parts that are glued together, 2 of them glued together, and then just planing it. It's super time consuming. Wish I had a power planer, but they're, well, I don't know, maybe $300. And most of it is for like bigger pieces of lumber, you know. And even if you had these long sheets here, you know, each one of these has to be a different plane. It has to be, I get it about 10 millimeters down at the bottom and then just graduate all the way up thinner and thinner. It's, or 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch. And like I said before in the Lyon and Healy video, looking at their soundboard, it looked a little thicker than a 1/4 inch at the bottom. It looked more like 3/4 of an inch. So anyway, so yeah, so I ordered a new one of these because this one's just, it works, but I like to get a new one that just cuts real good. This thing works pretty good, but usually you have 2 hands, you know, when you're plating, and you got to use one hand to hold it. You know, I thought of maybe getting a clamp and clamping it down to the wood, you know, and doing it that way. I guess I could, but still kind of a pain. And you got plane, and then I measure with a micrometer, thicker at one end, thinner. Luckily, these boards are going to get smaller and smaller and smaller, so they're not so much work. But and I've got this thing. My mom had those. I don't know where she got those things. A long time ago, probably in the 70s, maybe. And so I'm still gluing as I go. Let's check this piece here. The Christmas tree of clamps. And put these things on here. After about 30 minutes, you can take it off because it's pretty much set. And then just, I got all these pairs here to glue. Luckily, they're shorter pieces to plane, but yeah, it's kind of a rough plane now. And then I'll, you know, it's not going to be perfect. It's really hard to do that without a machine, you know, but I guess in the olden days, they were able to do it back in 1900s, 1800s, who knows. Anyways, so that's the update for, you know, for today. Hopefully next video I'll have more than this. I still need to clean and plane all this right here. I want it to be bare wood like this. I did this side. I got to finish it. Stanley had chewed this up pretty good, especially down at the bottom down there. I put wood putty on some of the areas that he had chewed up, but you know, I'm just going to plane it down smooth so that when I put the glue on here, it'll have a really good bond. And it's pretty level. So I'm happy about that. You imagine if they were all like this, it'd be really hard. Okay, I found the video, so let's analyze this.
Spaces here. So this whole body stays hollow, and that's your sound box. That's where all the resonance happens.
Look at that. Look at how nicely this fits. How do you do it? Where did you learn this, Frank? Like, where did you learn how to
See how thick it is?
do this?
I'm carpenter.
Yes.
I learned in Poland
Okay.
for 6 years
Okay.
and come here and start working with the wood.
This is my favorite
don't know, maybe
part,
they thin it
because
out.
wood comes from a living thing. These
Yes.
were trees. These were alive.
And it's alive.
It's still alive. Exactly.
Never die.
Exactly.
Never die.
So what's fascinating for me is to have both of you here, instruments, you
See,
bring them to life.
See, he's already got all the
Someone
ribs
like
on it,
Caroline
so
keeps
how are you
them
going to plane
alive.
that? Well, I'm eventually getting there. It's a couple days later. I bought a couple planes, block planes. Look at all that. Oh, so much work. So I got this one at Lowe's for, I don't know, $19. Works pretty good. At Sharp. Got this one on Amazon, $12. Stanley, Cobalt Stanley. And they're both sharp, which really helps. These old ones are just, the blades are just so old. And I've tried to sharpen them, but they're just, you know, far gone. So I'm getting it down. It's graduated. I still have, let's see, I got up to 9 I think 9 is done. And then I just go back all the way up. Gluing and clamping and gluing and sanding and planing, and then once they're all done, then I'll be able to glue them all together and then sand them again so that it's flat. I don't know how flat I can get it. It's pretty hard without proper equipment like power planers and things like that. You can buy all that, but they're hundreds of dollars. So we'll see. So let's see, I'm on number 8. Now what I do is I take that Sharpie, it's like one of those erasable pen things, and I make this mark here, and then I plane that mark off, then I measure it with the micrometer, and I get it just a little bit thinner than the last plank, and then I also plane the glue marks, or the, you know, both sides here, and then this is the very, so I just got, oh wow. So I've got these 2, so I've got these 3 here, and they're double board, double plank. And then to thin it down even more, I just added one redwood, and then the back is this, I believe it's birch, and it's super thin, and it helps with reducing the size, so I can plane these guys down and get it down to 1/8, and that should be then it'll be all roughly planed, and then I'm gonna sand each piece out in the driveway with a mask on, just sand it down even more, and then we'll glue it. Not sure if I should just start by just gluing 2 boards together, 2 or 3 boards together, letting it dry, glue 3 more boards, and then glue those, and so on. So do something like that, because it's going to be hard to lay them all down and glue them all at the same time. Turns into kind of a mess. And then sometimes you need clamps and stuff like that with what I got. Anyways, so that's, well, finally I got everything planed. It's about 10 millimeters at the bottom and goes up to just about 5 millimeters, which is about 1/8 of an inch. So, yeah, that's a lot of work, hand planing all that crap. So now I'm going to rough sand, power sand every piece, get them pretty flat, and then make sure all the edges here meet real nicely for a glue bond. Unlike, see that light? Don't want to see that. So these edges have to be sanded. I've been sanding them and planing both edges as I do each plank. And there are still some gaps. So those will have to be addressed. And then when all of that is sanded fairly smooth, won't be perfect, I'm also going to sand the back lightly. Then I'll be able to start laying this thing down on a table on top of some visqueen and start gluing maybe two of them at a time. And then after I get all the sets glued, then I can start putting, put them together. Anyways, so it's coming along. Big, huge mess. There's another thing I've been thinking about. Watch this thing fall. Yeah, you can see it's pretty rough. Or Stanley, the guy that cut this thing apart, he kind of gouged these surfaces. I sanded them, but let me get a flashlight maybe. A real good flashlight. Its battery's always dead. There is the camera. Camera's right. You can see that's wood putty right there. And I had put that in there because there was all kinds of gouges from him taking a screwdriver and trying to cut the perfectly good soundboard off of it. And what I'm worrying is the glue will not stick to the putty. So I might just take the Dremel and dig out all that putty. And then with this stuff, there's sawdust in here. I can mix it with the glue, like real fine stuff like that. Mix it with the glue and use that to fill the holes. That way it'll be hopefully wood, and the new glue for the soundboard, once it's done, will stick to that, but it won't stick to the wood putty. It might. It was pretty porous stuff when I put it on, but it's still pretty, it's iffy. So to get a really good bond, I got to go around the whole thing and go cut all that stuff out of there and then mix this stuff up with some tight bond. I've seen guitar luthiers do that when they're like working on restoring necks that have gouges and stuff like that, and they make a bunch of sawdust, mix it with glue, and put it in there, and it seems to work. So that's the plan. Several days later, probably 3. So I've got all these slats sanded down, 100 grit sandpaper, and they're getting thinner. They feel pretty strong. And then the top piece is over there. It keeps wanting to warp. So I'm trying to get the warp out of it. It's the glue in there, the water in the glue that is making it warp, so it's got to completely dry there. So let's see. I think the next step is going to start gluing two boards together so I could control. You know, if I did it all at the same time, there's all kinds of weird stuff that can happen, you know. So I'm just gonna get two boards, completely flat surface, visqueen sandwich, so that the glue that squeezes out doesn't, you know, if you put it down on something, it'll, on that Formica workbench of mine, it'll just glue itself to that. So the visqueen will help with that. And once I get the sets of two glued, then I'll start putting two of those together, making four, so on, and then put the whole thing together with only maybe three areas that will be glued that I could control. It's all about control. Another thing, I'm gonna contact, I'm gonna contact the manufacturer of the wood putty and the manufacturer of Titebond Technical and ask them questions about their product. For the wood putty, I'd like to ask them, will this type of it's a PV something glue, it's just that wood glue, yellow wood glue, will it glue to your product? And I'll ask Titebond, will it glue to this product? You know, if they say, yeah, sure, no problem. If they say, no, it should be wood on wood, then I have to dig all this crap out of here. Good old Stanley. Get clean wood, because that's where all that string pressure, I read that the most of the pressure on these harps are in about the middle section, that pulling. So about here, boom. Anyway, so that's the update for today, and it's a beautiful October day, 79 degrees here in Southern California, the city of Temecula. I have about 50 wineries 10 minutes away from here, and I never go up there. So I don't drink wine. I was born on a winery, but I used to drink wine when I was younger, but you know. Yeah. Anyways, that's all for now, folks. Okay, so I called up Minwax and talked to them and asked them, will this accept glue? Will it be strong like if it was wood? And they said, oh, we don't know. Nobody's ever asked us that. So I called Titebond and talked to their engineer there, and he wasn't sure, and he started doing all these calculations, and I'm using redwood on whatever that wood is, birch, I think, or whatever the harp's made out of. He said to just take two pieces of wood, you know, gouge a little thing out, put some wood filler in there, clamp it overnight. The next day, take a hammer and break it with a hammer and look and see what the, you know, where it breaks at. And that will tell you whether the glue is sticking to the wood filler or not. And it's like, God, it's like crazy. So I think I'm just going to get a Dremel with some little bits and just get all this, hard to see, but I'll get all this wood, dig it out with the Dremel, and then get chunks of wood, glue the backside, stick it in there, so that the Titebond will glue a little strip of wood to the sound box, right? And then the top surface that will be real wood, So when I glue the soundboard, it'll be gluing to that. It's still going to be weak, but let's say he told me that I think the tight bond will withstand something like 750 pounds of pulling force every 2 inches. 750 pounds, so you know. I know. Anyways, we'll see. Oh, that was fun. I get to dig all that crap out. Okay, so I have the first 2 sections glued together that I did yesterday. Came out pretty good. The next 2 sections, yeah, a little, I don't know, a little like that. So this one I did this morning, so it's still a little pliable. I'm gonna glue all this together. I'm gonna try. Kind of feel like a caveman trying to build a harp with these tools, but it's all I got. And I've never done it before. So, first of all, I'm gonna get this rag a little wet. There, I got some water. Using tight bond. Put it on there. Slather it on. Wipe this stuff off so it's easier. Okay, I'm gonna set this over to the side. This side. Same thing. Slather it on. That's pretty good. And I'm going to lay it down. I've got it on a piece of visqueen plastic, so it doesn't, the glue doesn't stick to anything really. And kind of got these lines, these green lines that I put on there when I had these on the harp. Fill in all the cracks that I can with glue. Some other places I missed on the hair. Here too. Without the proper machines, it's real hard to get these slats even. This will all be sanded again. But glue's hard to sand. Okay, I got that done. Now, I have these big long pipe clamps from my dad's. These are about circa 1960s. Got the pipe clamp, both sides. Put it on either side. Like that. Lay down I don't like this piece of wood. Kind of warped. It's okay. And now just start clamping it down. Well, I should put this on here so it doesn't buckle. As soon as I see the glue coming out of here, and then I keep checking on it every hour. That one's good. This one's not long enough. Good thing I got these pipe clamps. And I just weight it down. Just like that. Ta-da! So my plan is, I get two sections like this. I guess I can just keep adding on to it, but I like to just get two of them glued first, let them sit overnight, so it's kind of semi-strong. These are pretty strong from glued overnight. And just keep going down. I have the original, or the soundboard that came with it that Stanley made, and I have it on that, so it's pretty flat. Then when it's done, when I have it all the way glued, then I'll turn it over gently, the whole thing, and then I'll put the reinforcement ribs on either side, glue those down so that the whole thing is a little stronger, so I can turn it over and hopefully it'll be strong enough for me to be able to sand it without it breaking And once it's the other side is sanded real good, leveled the way I like it, then I have to put a sheet of veneer on there. Hopefully I can use this old piece of veneer that was on Stanley's soundboard. If I can get it off of there in one piece, reuse that, then glue it down to the top of the soundboard. Not sure if I'm going to use Tight Bond or contact cement. They say contact cement, but it's kind of a, you lay down the contact cement and you have one shot at it of getting it to line up perfectly. If it's off just a little bit, forget it. Start over on the entire thing. With this stays moist for a little while, where you can move the soundboard if you need it. I'm not sure why they want the contact cement, if it's just something about tone. Maybe I'll research it some more. But anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. Fun until we meet again.